Hey everyone, patching into today's video, doing the 5-day forecast today, having a detailed look at the weather the next 5 days across the British Isles. Going to be staying unsettled. We'll have low pressure driving in off the Atlantic through many days through the course of the coming 5-day period, which takes us up to Monday. Very stormy today with Storm Frank, giving us a bit of a battering, so I'll talk about that in a second. But overall, the weather over the next 5 days will be really unsettled with bands of rain. Now, we've got a complication in the form of high pressure and severely cold air that's going to be plunging down through Scandinavia and much of eastern Europe. This is going to delay the progress of these areas of low pressure over the next 5 days. So there is the potential for copious amounts of rain, particularly at the weekend and into the start of next week. I think that cold air is going to stay over the other side of the North Sea. It's going to be a very close run thing, but I think we're just going to hold it at bay for the coming 5 days. Anyway, that could change, of course, next week, but for the coming 5 days up to Monday, I think we keep that big freeze that will be engulfing most of Europe over the other side of the North Sea, and will stay generally mild, cooler than we've had it through December, with temperatures closer to average, but still generally a mild Atlantic-driven flow. So I'll show you all the detail in a second. A lot going on over the next 5 days. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all pages. Guys, love it to have a browse, widgets, click through links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks so much for doing that. This video adds to most of the page, so open up content, but you watch them and close back up again. And that is helping to pay for the website. The websites we're using for the 5-day forecast came from theweatherout.com and westcent.d. You can find a link to both websites on the links page. So just starting with the radar picture from the Weather Outlook, you can see this huge swathe of rain here across southwest England through Wales, just going into Midlands now, stretching up through northern England and into Scotland, with showery conditions following along behind. Also some very strong winds associated with this as well. So here's today's Arctic pressure chart from West Central. See tight back dive bars across the country, so it's a really windy day. Very strong winds in the far north, gale or severe gale up there, and generally a windy day across all parts of the country, with a cold front moving across, bringing a band of heavy rain. And as that cold front pushes across this afternoon, the worst of the winds will moderate, but this band of rain will be heavy, and it's not going to help the flooding problems across northern England, of course. So that's really sets the scene for today, I'm afraid. A wet and windy afternoon coming up, with a band of rain moving south and east across the country, followed by brighter skies to the north and west, but still with blustery showers here for Scotland, Northern Ireland, and eventually coming down into northern England as well. Temperatures today very mild again, exceptionally mild in the south at around 13 or 14 degrees, but turning colder behind this front. So Scotland and Northern Ireland, the temperatures dropping probably this afternoon down to around 6 or 7. Overnight, we'll get rid of that band of persistent rain from the east, but we'll keep it unsettled with showers continuing in the north and west. I think many southern, central, southeast parts of the country will probably turn dry once that band of rain has cleared. Temperatures tonight will be colder than we've had it recently in the south, around 5 or 6 degrees. In the north, could go low enough for frost and ice actually across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. By the way, notice this southerly wind pushing up across Scandinavia and into the Arctic at 6 o'clock in the morning. That is warm air advection taking warmth from this storm system that's battering us at the moment, taking it up into the Arctic. I'll show you the upper air temperatures so you can see how far north that's going. Look at that, 5 Celsius at 850 HPA. Across the north of Scandinavia and pushing into the Arctic, and as a consequence that's forcing this severely cold air out of the Arctic into Russia and into eastern and southeastern parts of Europe. Eventually this will push into Scandinavia, because what happens when we get this warmth moving up into the polar regions is that it creates a ridge, and this ridge is eventually going to set up over Scandinavia and pull this cold air that's currently in the far east of Europe, pull it into more central. But I think we will stay just about under an Atlantic-driven pattern. So you see that actually on the pressure chart tomorrow. I'm off on a tangent with this, but it's quite an important development for this winter, I think. So you can see that already taking place tomorrow with this high pressure going up to 1,045 millibars across the north of Scandinavia. And the reason that's happening is that it's being inflated by the warmth pushing up across Scandinavia and into the Arctic. Anyway, I digress. I was on a tangent with that. Sorry about that. Getting back to the 5-day forecast, we're going to see a dry start to New Year's Eve, away from the far north and west where there'll be showers. Quite a bit of sunshine around, I think, to start off with tomorrow. But heavy showers will develop in the west, and those showers will spread eastwards across the country today, possibly merging into longer spells of rain, risk of hail and thunder. Within colder air, some of those showers could turn wintry over high ground across Scotland and Northern Ireland in particular. Temperatures will be significantly cooler, especially in the south-southeast. You'll notice the drop in the temperature, around 9 or 10 Celsius is still above average, but certainly not the ridiculous warmth that we've had through most of December. And in the north, it'll be a little bit colder than average, actually. With temperatures there going down to around, or staying up, I should say, at around 4 or 5 Celsius. If we have a quick look at New Year's Eve itself, so the night of New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, this is how it's looking at midnight, with a very slight ridge actually starting to build across the country. So I think it will be turning drier, those showers will die out, and with clearing skies, winds turning lighter, turn quite cold on New Year's Day, in the early hours of New Year's Day. So if you're out and about revelling or travelling about, take care, because there could be a little bit of ice forming actually. Temperatures will go down close to freezing across much of the country. After those showers through the day, I think there will be an ice risk in the early hours of New Year's Day, so that could be something to watch out for if you're walking about or driving about in the early hours of New Year's Day. New Year's Day itself, the first day of 2016, will find a new area of low pressure moving in off the Atlantic. So although we'll start off on a cold and fine note with sunny spells, I think it'll turn cloudy and wet across Ireland, Wales, southwest England by the end of the day. Some heavy rain setting in with strong to gale force winds. The north and the east probably staying dry with sunny spells turning increasingly hazy. And quite a cold day actually on New Year's Day. Temperatures will be below average pretty much everywhere. Not talking severely cold, of course, but temperatures in the north around 2 or 3, in the south 5, 6, 7. It's a little bit cooler than you would expect for the first day of January, and that hasn't happened for several weeks. Notice this ridge continuing to build across Scandinavia. That is in response to what's happening today with these southerly winds drawing the warm air advection into the Arctic. But for us, we remain in this westerly flow over the weekend. So for Saturday, I think we'll have a band of cloud and rain across the country. Showery bursts of rain on and off, not continuous, but it'll be a pretty grim day with a lot of cloud and rain coming and going. And temperatures won't be anything exciting, around average really, at around 4 degrees in the north to around 8 or 9 Celsius in the south. And then we go through into Sunday, and a new area of low pressure is driving in off the Atlantic. This is being held up though by this big ridge across Scandinavia and northern parts of Russia. So we're going to find a lot of wet weather on Sunday. The weather fronts will be strung out across the country, slow moving fronts bringing bouts of rain on and off all day, and it's going to be a real write-off I think Sunday, with quite strong winds in the north and east as well from a southeasterly direction. That'll make it feel quite cold on the east coast. Temperatures probably around average again, 4 to 9 Celsius, but it's going to feel pretty grim I think under the wind, rain and strong winds. And then we end the 5-day forecast period on Monday, still within low pressure. The big freeze is lurking over the other side of the North Sea. If I show you the low level air, you can see the extent of that cold across many parts of northern, central and eastern Europe, but notice the west of Europe remains generally quite mild. So we'll probably have rain in situ to start off with on Monday, which will turn increasingly showery through the course of the day. May brighten up a little bit. Temperatures just about getting cold perhaps for east of Scotland. I think these southeast winds could just be starting to draw in some of that cold air to the far east of Scotland. So Aberdeen, for example, might go down to just 1 or 2 degrees, and you might get some snow there on Monday, but otherwise still generally seeing the temperatures holding up around average. It's such a close run thing to this cold weather, but I think generally temperatures will still be around 6 or 7 Celsius for many of us. So near yet so far to that really cold air. Just finally having a look at the charts from weather outlook over the next 5 days. So here's the wet and windy weather sweeping across the country through the course of today. Some really heavy rain in with that as well, followed by more showery conditions up to the north and the west. New Year's Eve is going to be sunshine and showers. Those showers will get heavier and merging to longer spells of rain from the west through the course of the day. New Year's Day looks quite nice, but there will be cloud and rain beginning to arrive in the far west and southwest through the course of the day. It will be colder on New Year's Day as well. Saturday, it's going to be a case of showery rain across the country through much of the day, coming and going. Right off the Sunday with persistent and heavy rain lasting all day, and then we go through into Monday, still with showers or longer spells of rain. Temperatures from the weekend into next week will be around average, so cooler than we've had it, but that freezing cold air looks like it's just going to remain on the other side of the North Sea, although it could just about get into the far north and northeast of Scotland, so possibly the chance of something wintry there by Monday. So in summary, the next 5 days from taking us from 2015 into 2016 looking very unsettled. It's stormy today. It's going to stay wet and windy on and off through much of the period. Temperatures exceptionally mild today, but will be sliding down closer to average, so it will be turning cooler, but the real cold looks like it's going to stay over continent at least for the next 5 days. That's all for now then, and thanks for watching.